What an absolutely glorious, glorious day and a glorious, glorious spot. Got the lighthouse at Land's End there, and this is Cape Cornwall. And this is my beast. What more could you ask for? Just stunning. Okay, how's it going, guys? So, about the Tenere. So I'm going to be taking it off-road for the first time today, but I just thought I'd give you a couple of little updates. So I've dropped the suspension on the front now. Hopefully you can see those two marks. So the top one was the stock, and then I dropped it 10mm down from there. So now we have the lowered seat and the lowering kit dog bones, so the longer dog bones, drop the back suspension. So the whole thing is now lowered. Bear in mind, remember I am 5'8" with a 31.5" inseam. I think it's quite difficult to measure your inseam with your junk in the way and all that kind of thing. But so yeah, I've just ridden from where I live to here, which is about 40 minutes away. We're near St. Just. We're going to go and do a little bit of the Tet, which is along here. It's nothing too difficult. It's nothing too tricky. Excuse me. But yeah, I just thought I'd test the beast on a little bit of rougher ground. So I'll take you with me on that and tell you what I found. So in terms of comfort on the road, I just spent, like I said, about 30-40 minutes in the saddle, doing about 60-70 to get here. It's absolutely fine. Like you are slightly more limited in where you can sit with the lowering seat. If you sort of push yourself back a bit, then you're constantly sort of sliding down. So you always end up back in here. So it kind of forces your leg position a little bit. This is also the first time I'm out wearing my motorbike boots as well, proper ones. So I have noticed that this here, that is a known thing on the Tenere, that does stick out a fair amount. That's covering the clutch, this bit of plastic here. And I did notice that more because it was rubbing on my boot, so it is pushing your leg out slightly. I mean, it's funny really, because my last bike had a big exhaust panel here, so that was kicking out my right leg as well. So I did notice a little bit more. I think it's more of an issue for people with longer legs who are more cramped on the machine, so they're going to be whacking into it more. It certainly doesn't hurt. You're just ever so slightly aware that something is pushing onto your shin just here, because that's exactly where your leg goes. In terms of the difficulty of dropping the forks, by the way, I did that yesterday. It's really very easy. Just make sure you've got it jacked up properly, and with the wheel just a tiny bit of support under the wheel, like put a plank under it or something, just so it doesn't all drop out of position. And then just unscrew the top ones, unscrew the bottom ones, drop it down, and then make sure you obviously torque them back up to the correct amount. I'll stick an image on the screen now so you can see the correct torquing for that. But yeah, really easy, and then you just literally just slide them up by hand and it's job done. In terms of confidence with me on the bike, I'm really glad I've done this, to be honest with you. I might end up putting it back up again when I get more used to a heavier bike, and you know, just get used to the bike in general. I might end up jacking it back up again to regain the little bit of lost ground clearance. But the thing performs, it seems to perform exactly as it did before. Obviously it's a bit hard to tell without really pushing it, but you know, you still got a fair amount of ground clearance there. With my weight on it, it only sinks down a little bit, so I'm not massively worried about the ground clearance. But if you are, you know, if you do regularly, got a fly on the lens, if you do regularly, you know, if you're going over logs and great big slabs and stuff all the time, then maybe this definitely isn't for you, because you are going to be grinding out and grounding out, more often. But for me, I think it's okay. One thing that is worth pointing out is on the kickstand now, it does stand much more upright. So if you put it on a bit of a slope, on a bit of a hill, it's not leaning over so much, so it's not quite as stable on the kickstand, because obviously everything's dropped down ever so slightly. So just bear that in mind. If you do this, make sure you don't put it on a kickstand on a hill that way, do it the other way around, just to give it an extra little bit of lean. On the off chance that you get a stiff wind, you know, it's very, very upright, and a stiff wind just blows it and it just drops over. But that's the only real concern I've got so far. Anyway, right, let's get on the road, and I'll share with you my thoughts taking this thing off-road for the first time. So it's kind of exciting. Like I said, nothing too challenging ahead, but you know, it should be a bit of fun, and we've got beautiful weather as well. So let's get on it. Okay, let's have a look. So I still can't quite flat foot, but I'm flat foot ball, but it's much easier than before. Let's go and have a look what's what then. So I have done this bit of the tech before, so I should remember it. So hopefully I won't need the map. Mostly just kind of gravelly, rocky stuff. Well, as you can hear, the rocks whacking stuff. Tell you what, oh, that looks good down there. Don't want to go where I'm not meant to be though. Yeah, it's really quite cushy, the suspension on this thing. I guess the combination of more weight and just better. Let's go up here. I think this isn't just a little bit off the tap, but it's only a tiny little cut through. Yeah, all feels pretty easy. So what other things have I changed? Oh yeah, I've added the Acerbis handguards. I thought they'd give me a bit more protection for a drop than the stock ones. This really is a beautiful part of the world around here. I do love this little bit. I don't know if you're going to be picking that up, but there's because it's so far away and I'm on super wide angle on the lens, but just down there. Just down there, you got loads of very famous tin mines. They use those in lots of films and stuff. I think they were in Poldark actually, possibly. Might have got that wrong. I never watched it. But anyway, so I added these Acerbis handguards. I left the bar end weights on. I think most people take them off, but whether I did that right, I don't know. But either way, just in case you do the same thing, bear in mind that the tolerances is quite minimal. So you've got a little bit of a gap there between the tank and the attachment, and the tolerance between the levers, come around here, and the guards, as you can see, is super tight. I've actually had to click the brake down too. I mean, it probably would have been fine on the maximum one, but it just gives me a little bit of clearance for wobbles and stuff. And I added this Gibby fairly cheap tank bag. It's not ideal, doesn't fit great. Got flies stuck into my bike already, but it's not too bad. I will get a proper mount for my iPhone at some point, but for now I quite like having it in there. It cancels the vibrations out, which is bad for the phone, and yeah, it's just handy to stick a what have I got in there? A fudge bar and a curly whirly. So yeah, it's quite handy for that, and I'll sort out the luggage later. Anyway, let's carry on. We're meant to be testing this bike off-road, aren't we? Yeah, this is really quite lumpy around here, so it's quite a good test for the suspension. But yeah, beautiful landscape around here. Really like this little bit of the tech. It's my favourite bit that I've done so far. Should probably put the suspension onto turn the ABS off, shouldn't I? Yeah, the standing position is just lovely on this bike. I have affected it slightly now, obviously, because the handlebars have sunk down slightly after I've dropped it, but then the back's dropped down as well, so I guess it's not really changed much. It's just physically a little bit lower than it was without the lowering kit. So in terms of the actual suspension travel with the lowering kit, it's basically the same. Go slow past this doggy. Yeah, so it's basically the same, but I've just lost a bit of ground clearance, so it shouldn't be a big deal really. But yeah, when I sit down, I do feel like I'm sitting in a hole more than I did before, because I physically am. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, it just means your knees are slightly more bent. And, you know, obviously I can now reach the ground easier. I kind of want to really test out the suspension, but I also don't want to annoy dog walkers and stuff by going fast, so I'll approach these guys nice and slowly. This is really rough here. Yeah, it's just quite cushy really, it just soaks up the bumps for you. So yeah, it's the first time using my proper boots. I did bring a bunch of tools along in case I needed to adjust the gear lever, but it's not too bad. I'm sort of sticking my foot out to the side mostly at the moment anyway. Brake lever position is possibly a bit low for standing. I think some people weld a little bit of metal on, so you have like a dual position brake lever, one for, have I gone the right way? I hope so. So you have a dual position brake lever, but I've never really had a problem with that. But then I'm not, you know, super experienced off-roader, so maybe that's one of those little things that you do when you've, you know, when you're really honing the bike. Okay, I think coming up there is a little bit of a challenging bit, just a bit of a steep section. So I might eyeball it quickly first. I've done it a couple of times already. I've done it on my Honda and I've done it on my Fantic, and it really isn't that much. It's just one little section which is it's a little bit steep and a bit rutty, but it changes depending on how many 4x4s have just flown up it. It's just ahead there, you can see it drops down and then comes back up again. But you know what? Let's just go for it. Bit of mud here. Yeah, no problem. Now, I'm sure that looked like pissle on the camera, it always does, but that was relatively lumpy and a little bit steep, just in one little section. Obviously I did it in first gear, doing about 5 miles an hour, but it just goes to show how easy this bike is, because I'm not, you know, my first time off-road, and I know a few off-roaders that go around that bit, because there's an easy way around. I haven't changed tyre pressure or anything like that. You know, this is grippy it's a bit loose, but it's as grippy as all hell. It's hardly muddy stuff that requires it, and to be honest with you, I think that's slightly a bit of a myth anyway, the whole, you know, unless you're going over loads and loads of sand, I don't really think you need to adjust your tyre pressure that much. What are these guys looking at? Just the view, I guess. It is very pretty. We just got beautiful weather today. Well, that was pretty tame. Nothing too challenging, but nice to Nice to get a little bit of non-road under my wheels. I think we'll call that quits there, guys, and I'm going to head back. I might go back and do it the other way, and then possibly look for other little shoot-off sections. But I thought I'd yeah, take you with me on my first off-road. So yeah, for your yeah, it is nice being able to get my foot down, I have to be honest with you. I wonder how much ground clearance I've actually lost. I'm not totally sure, but I mean, obviously it sinks down more than that, but we've got 1, 2, 2.5 fists there. Probably get just under 2 fists once it's sunk down a little bit of my weight. But yeah, there you go. First bit of off-road for the Tenere. Hopefully we've got some more challenging stuff ahead. What a beautiful day. I should have brought my drone. Anyway guys, I'll sign off there. But yeah, just thought I'd give you a little update on the bike, little modifications I'm doing slowly. And yeah, my first go off-road. Catch you later. Little addition, guys. I just pulled over after the rough stuff because there was a few clanking sounds, and I thought there was a stone just caught up in the cowl there. And I was just sort of looking around, and this is the sensor for the ABS on the back, and I noticed it was completely loose. Yeah, it wasn't even finger tight. So yeah, bear in mind this is a brand new bike that I've only had a couple of weeks. That's not great. That's not great, guys. I think I'm gonna I've got some tools on me, so I'm gonna whiz round and just check every nut and bolt that I can spy, see if there's anything else that is awry. It's possible it got rattled loose, but I doubt it. I mean, you know. But anyway, so yeah, that one there, that was completely loose. Brand new bike. Just thought I'd let you know in case it's a common thing. But now it's getting me paranoid now. I'm going to look around every single little bit of the bike, see if I can spot anything else. Anyway guys, just thought I'd let you know. See you later.